Well, it has finally arrived. I'm so excited. My big shot is finally here. I didn't get one for years and years because I've had the Cricut and didn't really need to cut through chipboard and things like that. But now that I started into mini albums, the cardboard really needs something like the big shot thing that can cut through it. So I started buying some stuff to go along with the big shot. I found the big shot on Joann's. It was 40% off. I think it was Black Friday. And so it was just really great. I finally got one. So to go with it, Hobby Lobby was selling the Nestability sets by Spellbinders for 50% off. So this was the perfect time of year to stock up on scrapbook tools. So I was really happy to be able to get the Nestability sets. What Nestabilities are is they cut and they emboss at the same time in one run. So this one is, I think this is 7 different sizes of scallops that I can run through the big shot, and I'll demonstrate those in a minute. I also bought the hearts because I've seen people make flowers with them, and as once as I figure out how to do that, I'll demo that. Then I bought some basic shapes like the circles. Now I usually do just cut my circles out on the Cricut, but the reason why I got these Nestability circles is because when I try to cut out a circle of someone's face on a specific picture, I can't always see where their face is. Or I don't know that I'm going to cut on exactly the right spot when I do it on the Cricut. Now someone who may be more advanced than me can probably figure it out faster, but for me, this is the fastest way to do it. So that's why I bought some basic circles, and I also bought some basic squares to do the same thing, because I like to make grid layouts with different size squares, and instead of having each different size punch, I just have these variety of sizes all in one set. So those are the ones I got. Well, what I was going to demonstrate today is how to make the scallop circle. And it'll kind of look like this, but I'm going to do it with contrasting paper so you can really see it better. But these are the 3 that I started off with. I'm actually going to make a flower out of these, and I'll demo that later. But I was just wanting to teach my girls the basics on how to use this tool, specifically with the Nestabilities and also with the Cuttlebug embossing folders. So that's what this demonstration is going to be about. So first we'll start off with cutting the actual Nestability. So what I'm going to do is first put down all tabs. This is the multi-purpose platform that comes with the Sizzix. So I'm going to put all tabs down. Tab 1 and 2. It's not open at all. It's just all sides down. So that just goes right into the big shot. Then on the bottom I put what's called my good plate, because Nestabilities will beat up these cutting plates. So I put my good cutting plate on the bottom. Then I like to put what's called a shim, or it's just a piece of scrapbook paper here on the bottom, just for some added thickness. And then for demonstration purposes, let's see, let's go ahead and go with this big Nestability. Now, how you know which side to put up or down? Nestabilities are 2-sided. As you'll see, this has a ridge. That is the side that goes up. The back side is flat. So this is the side that goes down. Flat side down, ridge side up. Then the paper that I'm going to use, this is a really pretty paper from Mariposa, and I want to make sure to include the butterfly in there. So I'm going to put that on top of the Nestability. And then this is what I mean by Nestabilities will beat up your cutting plates. It's going to scratch them quite a bit. You'll feel it. So just try to remember to kind of move around your plate. If you cut on the same spot all the time, these will bend and start warping, and you'll have to buy a cutting plate, a replacement cutting plate, earlier than necessary. So try to vary it up a little bit and cut in a new spot. So this one I'm going to cut right about here. So that goes on top, and you just push it through. Now it's going to make a loud cracking sound. You're going to think you broke it, but you have not. It's just cutting through your cutting plate. It's literally cutting that plastic on your cutting plate, and that's what that horrendous sound is. So you'll see it has cut the cutting plate slightly, but that's no big deal. It's meant to do that. That's what those are for. So then here's your nice little scallop, and it just cut it right out of this. So that's how you actually cut the scallop itself. Now the next phase that I like to do is I like to add a little bit more dimension to these by making them embossed. So you use the same platform again. You use your Sizzix multi-purpose platform. Now all the instructions for every phase are on this, so there's no guesswork. For embossing, we flip open, tab 1 and 2, both flip over, and you just have your base plate itself. And again, there's no guessing. I'm using an embossing folder. So it tells me for embossing folder, I'm going to use my good cutting plate, my embossing folder and paper, my other cutting plate, and this multi-purpose platform. So first I slide in the multi-purpose platform, then I put my good plate on the bottom. An embossing folder won't mess up your cutting plates, but I just like to keep that as a good habit so I don't mess it up later. And then Cuttlebug is an embossing folder, and I want this side of my paper embossed, not the white side. So I'm going to put face side up right in here, and just any old place. And you close it, put it right on top, and then my messed up bad cutting plate is the last piece of the sandwich. Now when I emboss, I like to do it a couple of times. So I'll go all the way through once. Before it goes all the way through, I come back. It's very easy to do there. You won't feel hardly any pressure when you use a Cuttlebug embossing folder. However, the results are really nice. So we flip it open. You can see the debossed side there. And then that is what it does when it's embossed. And so you can kind of see it in the light. It gives that raised look to it. Now if you want it to stand out even more, you can use a sanding block. Where's my sanding block? Sorry, I'm coming back. Let me move the big shot out of the way for a moment. Okay, let me zoom in for you. Sorry for all the movement for a second here. Okay, so then what I do with this is I'll take my sanding block and I'll just rub on it. And you'll start seeing that embossed print come right through. Isn't that pretty? So you'll see this is what's called a white core cardstock. So the white starts coming through it immediately. Now another thing that I like to do is you don't always have to do the white. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You can also just take some ink. So I have some distress ink. Let's say I'll use my walnut stain. And you can use the pads or you can use your ink daubers, whatever way you want to do it. I just put a couple of drops of the ink on it, pat it down a little bit, and I'll do the edges. I'll just distress up the edges a little bit. It just adds a lot of character to the scallop. Now what these are good for is either you can make flowers with them, or you can mat a photo on them, or what I like to use them for on cards is I'll get a monogram letter and put it right in the middle and then stick it down, maybe have some ribbon off on the back of it. It can also just be a tag in a mini album, and you can glimmer mist the back and it looks neat either on either side really. So anyway, that's pretty much the demo for it. You can take your inks and go across on top of them instead. If you want to add a little bit more dimension on them, or you can just leave it with the white core, either way. So that's how you use the Nestabilities with the Sizzix, and it's also how you use the Cuttlebug embossing folders with the Sizzix. Thanks for watching.